Hello and welcome to 1759 podcast. I'm your host, Dominic Gift Uke. Today, on this episode today, we are going to be talking about sickle cell anemia. And with me today, my guest today is a sickle cell carrier. And I will let him introduce himself briefly.
Okay, my name is Sir Don Tiyene, but most people know me as Sir Don. I am a living warrior, a surviving warrior. That is, I am sickle cell anemic. Well, and I'm proud about it, so let me not say anything. I am a student of computer science, about to graduate, really. So, watch me. And then I am the CEO to SDC, that is Sir Don's Castle. I manage almost 3 or 4 artists. That is what I do. And then I am an advocate of saying no to sickle cell anemia in
So
Nigeria.
today we are going to be talking about sickle cell anemia, its carriers, everything they face in the society in Nigeria as a whole. And why we are interviewing Sir Don today is because he's a sickle cell carrier. So he's the best person to tell us about sickle cell anemia, about what they face in the society, and he will share more light and educate us on sickle cell and everything that has to do with it. Thanks, Sir Don, for honoring our invitation. We're so happy to have you here with us today.
Thank you very much, Miss Gibbs, and then 1759. I appreciate it.
So we'll be diving into the questions, not to waste much time. The first question: can you speak to the prevalence of sickle cell disease in Nigeria?
Of course, definitely. In Nigeria, precisely, it is the highest number of this prevalence of sickle cell in the whole of the world. About 40 million people in Nigeria are affected or are carriers of sickle cell. Now, in every bed, there will be 40 out of 1,000 beds. Every 1,000 bed, there will be 40 sickle cells that will come out of it. So it is very harsh. It is the prevalence is too high in Nigeria, and we need to correct that. Thank you very much.
And how has it impacted the lives of those with the disease and their families? How have they been
Okay, actually, you said impacted. It's not impacted. It's affected.
affected? Sorry.
Yeah. How does it affect Nigeria? It affects us so much. Like, are you talking about Nigeria or?
Basically, everybody and their families.
Okay,
Every sickle cell carrier and their families.
It's affecting a lot. First of all, like financial problems. If you are not financially well, I don't think you can handle a sickler. I'm sorry to say, sickler, we are not sicklers. We are warriors, surviving warriors, of course.
Yeah.
So the fact is clear. It has affected us financially, educationally, socially. In fact, almost everything in this Nigeria. Of course, we need ourselves, all of us, to work hand in hand and do things. Now, a surviving warrior, a warrior cannot do this because of his condition. So it has affected Nigeria a lot. Thank you very much.
For your next question, can you discuss any unique challenges you have faced in accessing healthcare for sickle cell in Nigeria?
Well, challenges, there are a lot of challenges. The most unique one is the most effective and most fast relief medication is controlled. That means you cannot start a first aid at home before going to the hospital. Now, if in case your house is far from the hospital, and then you are trying to go, you understand? If you have first aid at home, you can use it and then be okay before going to the hospital. So the main challenge is most of the effective drugs are controlled, and it is
you
not
can't have them at home.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for that answer, Sir Don. So, what do you think needs to be done to improve healthcare for people with sickle cell?
A lot. Like the whole of the country needs to gather hands and help. Of course, certainly. Like the way I said, first challenges is that the most effective drugs are controlled. Now, if the community stands to say no, it's not supposed to be like that, okay, let it be very simple for them that they can access even in their own comfort zone. Yeah. So sometimes the government needs to even provide for the sickle cell. It's not their fault that they came into happening.
Yes.
You understand? So then the country need to help out. That's how it's supposed to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, Sir Don, for your third question, how has the cultural perception of sickle cell disease in Nigeria affected your experience living with the condition?
Okay, this one is the most serious. Cultural. We are talking, if we are going to be precise, the northern part of the Nigeria, well, that is where I almost did. It is the most biggest problem, of course. They used to say, okay, when you have this sickle cell patient in your house, they will start saying, okay, this one is Ana Kiran Mai,
Yeah.
That's the name they call it, Mai. And then in the Igbo part, they call them Obanji, because they usually come after birth. They will stay a little, like 1-2 days, and then they die.
Yeah.
These are sickle cell of way back sickle cells. That is how they behave. When they come, they don't reach 3 years. You go. Yeah, and then when you exceed 3 years, you exceed successfully, you might reach 30. That is what they say. That is the disbelief I want to talk about. The disbelief of cultural people. They will say, no, this person is not correct. This person is just a weakling. This person is not serious. This person just doesn't want to work. That is how the person is. So that's how it is. Thank you.
Okay. So for you all that don't know what Maye and Obanje means, it's just basically witches and wizards.
Sure.
So for your fourth question, Sir Don, how has your Nigerian identity influenced your approach to managing your sickle cell?
Nigeria, as I already said, it is the worst place to live with sickle cell. The worst place to live in with sickle cell. Sincerely speaking, because there are no hospital amenities. Like, let me talk about sickle cell. I told you, they have constant pains. And when then they have constant pains, if you are going to talk about sponsoring themselves by themselves, they can die on the way, because they cannot access the medical system because of the large sum of pains that is usually coming up. You understand? So that is why I said it is not good. Nigeria should please improve on this matter, and then they should please take some database of sickle cell in Nigeria at the whole, and then pay them some stipends or provide some drugs for them, and then everything will be done. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, adding to that, what role has culture played in your coping mechanisms?
Culture hasn't made me coping anywhere. That's the fact.
Thank you very much. For your next question, can you discuss any cultural or religious beliefs in Nigeria that may affect how sickle cell disease is perceived?
This one you said religion, agriculture.
Cultural or religious?
Okay, cultural or religious. Now I've talked about cultural, whereby Obanje and the rest. Now this religious matters too. Religiously, we just say, okay, this person is a weakling. Why are so he doesn't want to work? He's useless. That's what they just religiously. They are trying to cope and then tell you some good words, and those are the good words.
I heard of one that they said, based on religious fanatics, they said sickle cell patients are basically not from God, and if not, God will not take them back. I don't know if you have heard of that.
I'm hearing of that today. Thank you very much for that. And then it's very painful to hear that.
Painful, thank you. It's been an insightful and interesting conversation with Sir Don about sickle cell anemia, its carriers, and everything that has to do with it. Please stay tuned to the end of this podcast for more educative questions. We'll be right back. Welcome back to 1759 podcast. We are still on with Sir Don on the sickle cell anemia topic. So for your next question, Sir Don, how can the Nigerian community as a whole become more aware of and supportive of individuals and families affected by sickle cell disease?
Okay, how can the country, right?
Yes.
Our country, Nigeria,
And
how
the
can
community.
and the community help out in telling the world, Abi? Let me tell you, first of all, like this our platform, podcast 1759. This is the very best platform to start communicating to the world on the effect of sickle cell anemia in Nigeria. Now, from this session, me and you will start talking to these people about sickle cell anemia. It is not wise, it is not good. Let me tell you how to avoid sickle cell anemic patients in Nigeria. First of all, there are some things we call genotype, AA, AS, and then SS. So a sickle cell anemic patient is somebody that is having the SS genotype. Now, if you want to avoid people like the SS, I'm not saying I'm not useful in the community, but then to eradicate people with such pains in Nigeria, first of all, you need to know who to marry. Now, AA can marry every other genotype. But when you are AS, please don't go and marry anybody with another S, because it will bring about sickle cell anemic patients. They are surviving warriors. So that is how it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Don. For your next question, what role do you think the Nigerian government should play in supporting individuals and families affected by sickle cell disease?
Well, the Nigerian government and the community should please come closer in synergy to see that they eradicate sickle cell completely. I won't say partially, but completely, because I know what I'm saying. Now, the government again needs to provide a hospital especially for sickle cell patients, whereby, let me tell you an instance. If you go to a general hospital, you go with your sickle cell patient. Now, he is in serious pains, and because his own pains is not physical, it's not like an accident, it is inside. Now, when you go and the patient is crying, but there are others on the line, you cannot skip to go back. You understand? So why I said there should be a special hospital or department in a hospital for that kind of people is because of they should rush patients in pains. Yeah, so that they can save a life, because this pain can take you off immediately. So now, if the government work together and then provide such kind of hospitals, I believe it will ease a lot of our problems. Now, secondly, the control drugs I talked about earlier on, the government should make it a free something. I don't know how to use it in the pharmacy terms, but then they should make it, if you come to the pharmacy, order and get it for your first aid, so that it can aid the patient before coming to the hospital. That is number two. And then the community too should be aware that even if you deliver an SS patient, please take him like that, because he is worth it. He is strong. He is a fighter. He is a warrior. Now, for example, like me, I am more stronger than any other surviving warrior. Let me tell you why. Because obviously, I embrace my condition, and then because of that, I do some of the things with limit. So it's okay. Let me stop on this way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sir Don. Your next question: how do you think Nigeria's healthcare system can be improved to better address the needs of those with sickle cell disease?
Okay, I think I've elaborated that a lot. Yeah, they should please help out in providing a special hospital for us. The medication should be free. And then there is one important point. The most effective drugs for sickle cell patients is the natural things we have. The cocoa, the whatever they call it, zogale in Hausa. And then there are more plants and something that can heal a sickle cell. In fact, it can heal completely. You will not be having frequent crises. Natural. They should make it natural, not those toxins they used to provide for them indoors.
Thank you very much, Sir Don, for that answer. So for your next question, can you share any personal experiences of stigma or discrimination related to sickle cell diseases, and how you have navigated these experiences?
Okay, obviously I already said in the northern part they call them Mai. And then the Igbo call them Obanje. They don't like them, they see them as witches, and then they deny them of so many things. That is one of the stigma we have. Now another stigma is, okay, maybe from relationship like me, I'm SS. If I start dating, okay, or asking another girl out, and then she discovers that I'm SS, even if she's AA, she will run away completely. That is another stigmatization. And then the next stigmatization is that they see sickle cell anemic carriers as weaklings, as people who doesn't want to work. Colleagues will see them like, this person doesn't want to come to work. His mates in school will look at him like, no, this guy is not serious, he doesn't even want to study. These are some of the discriminations we do have. And then most people doesn't like the children. Like way back, if they born a sickle cell patient, when they see him very sick, they'll carry him to the river and throw him away. So these are some of the discrimination we are facing. I think that is the little I can say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Don. So for your final question, Sir Don, what message would you like to share with listeners about the impact of sickle cell disease in Nigeria and the importance of raising awareness and support?
Okay. Now, it has not impacted anything in the world. So the message here is that because it hasn't impacted anything, rather pains and suffering, please, let's try and eradicate sickle cell in Nigeria completely. I am insisting completely, because the pain is harsh. It is severe, not even to the patient in particular, his friends, his family, his loved ones, all of them will suffer. Taking him to the hospital, staying with him, and then a lot of things, spending a lot of money, going to and fro. You don't understand, it's really hurting. It's really hurting. So let's try our best as the community and as the world at large to eradicate completely sickle cell by marrying the best genotype. Thank you very much.
So guys, we have finally come to the end of today's episode of 1759 podcast on the topic sickle cell anemia with Sir Don. I hope you guys were educated. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast, because I did, and I learned a few things about the sickle cell community, and I hope you guys learned too. So Sir Don, do you have any final remark to tell the audience?
Of course. Thank you. To the world, I persist. To the world, I persist. Please, let's try and eradicate sickle cell anemia in Nigeria and the world at large with immediate effect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.